Hello, everyone, and thanks for listening to The Quality Hub, chatting with ISO experts. I'm your host, Xavier Francis, and today we are continuing our podcast discussion about software as a service with Brian Reich, Manager of Software Development, and Anne Siebert, Product Manager here at Core. Last week, we delved into the rationale behind software development and outlined the essential steps involved. Additionally, we explored how our proprietary software, the Core Compliance Platform, effectively addresses challenges and offers robust support for ISO and various other compliance standards. Now let's continue with part 2, where we'll be focusing on the diverse range of customers we cater to, as well as software refinement and new feature development. So you basically said there were like 3 different levels. We have internal customers, which are consultants. We have external customers, which are actual users that aren't part of a company. And we also have customer service. So you have all 3 points of view and all 3 different types of customers, if you will. Could you maybe share some perspectives you've seen from each one of those?
Yeah, of course. So our internal customers, which are our consultants, Core was developed as a tool to use with our consultants to manage their compliance system. So our consultants were hired to help them build out this system. Mm-hmm. And so not only does Core help the customer build out their system, but it also helps the consultant in providing the service to the customer.
Right.
So they're engaging with customers on a daily basis, and between them setting it up and them using it for their job as well, they're really a good resource to go to because they're constantly in the platform.
Right. And also, let's say there is a change coming up, or they see auditors are handling things a certain way that may be different, and we could change something or adjust something in Core that will help manage that better. They're right there to tell you.
Exactly. Our best ideas come from our consultants because they're on the front lines knowing exactly what customers are going through at any given point.
That's awesome. So like you said, the consultants are sort of the frontline users of Core as they help customers with certification, and they use Core as a tool.
That's right.
So let's look at our external customers, the everyday user that is managing their quality management system, whatever ISO standard they're doing. How do you look at their information and determine things?
So our external customers, we listen to in a number of different ways. We get a lot of indirect feedback from customers through our consulting team, like I mentioned. Mm-hmm. But we also speak directly to customers on how they use Core, how it would better serve them. I like to, as the product manager, go on site if I can with a customer, follow or shadow a consulting program. So that way it's one-on-one with the customer. I can see firsthand what problems they're running into. Mm-hmm. When we have the chance also, we try to get other team members out on site to get that same experience, right? So I'm not the only one having that experience and getting that firsthand from the customer. It really helps in building knowledge internally and improving the system that way. So it really helps us understand what is the right thing to build before we start building it.
Okay. So from Brian, how does it help you?
Some people still have the vision of a programmer in their head as the like isolated gray beard developer that's sitting doing his work in isolation.
But you kind of look like that.
Kind of. I'm working on the beard.
You're working on the gray, right?
I'm working on the gray. Yes. But yeah, this day and age, we know that good code does not get written in a vacuum. So if you simply hand off a problem to programmers and say, go solve this, you can assume way too much and assume that your customers need more than they do. And as a result, you can build something that's overly obtuse and too complex to actually be a good solution to the problem. On the other hand, you can assume way too little and you can come up with something that is way too simple to be a good solution to your broader base of customers. Mm-hmm. So you have to talk to subject matter experts, the consultants, even the customers themselves to, identify the corner cases as you go. Having said that, one of the best tools we have in our tool belt for this is trying to reduce our feedback cycles, right? There's a difference between different kinds of software development. The way software used to be developed, we called it waterfall.
Okay.
And waterfall software development is when before any code gets written, spend months, possibly even years, trying to come up with the perfect plan for that software. And Only then, after everyone's agreed to that perfect plan, do the developers go do their work, right?
Right.
Then you get to the end of that, and then you deliver something to the customer. And only at that point, after you've invested all this time and money into the product, do you find out exactly where you went wrong. So,
and you're so far out, there might be changes.
Absolutely. And then you're making the changes at a point where change is a lot harder to make. So in this day and age, we try to approach software development from the perspective of trying to reduce feedback cycles, deliver a little bit at a time, get feedback on it, and iterate from there.
That's a great idea. Let's look at the last one. How do you work with customer service? I know we have multiple people in our customer service department, and they work hand in hand with you and our customers when it comes to any issues they may have with Core.
Yeah, that's right. The customer service team is in Core all day, every day, right? Helping our customers, our live chat, they're talking with real human people on our team. It's not a robot. So they're working to the bone, right?
We're not using AI. It's a human being.
That's right. So we work with customer support every single day. They're acting as the voice of the customer when the customer doesn't know how to voice their issues other than saying that there's a problem or something's not working. We're constantly meeting on a weekly basis as well to see if there are those trends. Are there multiple customers out there having the same problem? Okay, well, maybe we need to readdress that. Having that constant communication really helps us in getting that feedback and developing things quicker and getting them out to customers so they can, again, make their lives easier and do what they need to do.
Absolutely. I can see how customer service maybe could voice a concern in a way that would be more helpful for you than maybe the customer could as well, because they're in it all the time. And they could also maybe see how certain issues affect a variety of customers, or even if they're using Core for different standards and processes. It's very fascinating to see how each one of these different customers can help determine how to make the software better.
Every customer is unique, but they're also not unique. So once you put them all together and you see the trends, you can easily identify the same pain points.
That makes sense. How would one determine what a software may need in regard to future features? And as we use Core as an example, what do we see? I know that you talk about trying to make it a very short feedback loop, but there's also some things that you might see coming down the road via a standard change, via change in the industry, those types of things. How do you determine when it's time to get some new features in a software?
So as an organization, we try to follow the crawl, walk, run method. Basically, when supporting new standards, we try to crawl our way through that for a little bit. We build tools manually, maybe with Excel or Word template, something like that, where we get a few customers to use that or use it internally to try to figure out, is this what we really need? Are we helping customers with this information? Trying to find those pain points to then walk and then run through our way to then building the software out to support that standard specifically.
But Brian, how does that affect you?
Well, I was just going to ask, is it safe to say that with our crawl, walk, run methodology, we go through the pain early on so we can help our customers run faster and get compliant faster by using our product later?
I would say that is true, yes.
And it also gives you probably, I would assume, Brian, we're already at a stage where we know what we need and how we want to implement, maybe not how we want to implement it into the software, but what we want to solve.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's sort of like when you think about software design, often you want to start from like a rough, low fidelity concept, right? And that crawl, walk, run model helps build that low fidelity concept first. You know, if you have a model for what you want to do in Excel, and then you run into the roadblocks where Excel can no longer meet the needs. For example, okay, you've got the data in Excel, but now I need notifications when the data is expired or something like that. That's when, okay, now we know the right tool to build into Core to solve the problem.
And much like what Brian was saying with the waterfall method, this crawl, walk, run, you don't want to just start running.
Right.
Or you're going to spend years maybe with something that isn't going to be useful to
Building
anybody.
the wrong thing.
I know that here at Core, we look at it from, okay, we have some people interested in a standard. Let's crawl, take on a few customers, get one of our consultants that knows how to handle that standard, see if it's a good fit for us to manage if there's going to be multiple customers. And then we determine, okay, we're going to ramp this up. Now let's get software involved. I work with program development a lot as well. So we know, okay, we're going to start doing some training on this as well. It's the same kind of process that we use here.
Exactly.
If we're even going to support something.
Yes, very similar with the software development, whereas you don't want to start building something unless you know it's going to be a viable product.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So while we determine if this is something we want to support with core, we kind of rough it, like you said, and then it helps us determine the main problems and software would fix. We put that into works. And in our case, it's generally different standards. Are we going to add a different standard? Is that correct?
Yep, that's right. So with cyber standards, the DoD, there's CMMC and NIST compliance that we offer, 27001, which we're certified to. You know, the cybersecurity standards come with their own unique set of challenges.
Well, they generally have some form of what may be called controls. So these are things you have to meet within this standard or to be certified.
Right. So they have their own unique problems. And while there are technical implementations that they have to do, there's things that need to be addressed, like collecting evidence and interactions with different government entities, such as the DoD, that they need to manage. So within Core, we have built a system security plan application that addresses a lot of those concerns that the NIST standard applies to. We're currently looking at building similar tools for other standards like ISO 27001.
That's great. We've determined now these are some standards we're gonna help people with. So let's build the software for it. And I know we're in the process of doing the training as well. This really fascinates me. All these aspects that go into developing software, from determining the problems, what we want to solve, how the software will solve them, developing the applications to use, and then this constant refinement with a variety of users. And then how to continue supporting other needs that the software can meet. It's really interesting. Now, Brian, what do you see as the future of Core from a software standpoint, from the Core Compliance platform?
Well, I guess it's worth noting that I don't get the only say in that. The future of Core is a shared vision. It comes first from the leadership of the company and through Anne, who gets the opportunity to speak to the customers and identify the problems and the needs and build us a roadmap, with, of course, technical input from the software development team.
I like how you said that, the roadmap. So it's like, you really do need to follow that roadmap to know where you're going to get to.
Yeah. You need to set a goalpost so you know where you're going. It can change, but you need to have a target you're striving towards.
Right.
For me, at a high level, the idea of the future of Core that energizes me is really focusing on customer value. Historically, Core's always served two customers. That's our consultants and, of course, our consulting customers, right? And that's led to a lot of success, both for us as a company and for those customers who get certified faster and cheaper than they would without us. So that's really great. But compliance isn't really something, at least in my opinion, that anybody really wants to do. There's a reason you're doing it, right?
Some may beg to differ.
Yes.
Very few.
Yes.
All right. So compliance usually isn't the end goal, right? It's a prerequisite to some other business goals, such as earning business in a particular market sector that values or demands a level of management system maturity or cybersecurity maturity out of its vendors.
Okay. That does make some sense.
So, I can't make customers wake up in the morning and get excited to dive into compliance or log into Core. But I can help build a system that makes compliance simpler for them. And that's really what excites me.
Well, we have talked about how management systems can really help a business for a plethora of reasons. But to your point, the doing it can really be a bit arduous, can it? For sure. So, having software that can take some of that pain away in managing the compliance really could be a huge benefit and a time saver for a customer.
A lot of our customers, their full-time job is not quality or quality management. And so having a software platform to do that background work that you would do as that role really saves them a lot of time and resources.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you get out of bed every morning, Brian. I really do. Are there any other improvements for Core on the horizon that you'd like to speak to, Brian?
Yeah, some of the stuff that I find really exciting is what we're doing in terms of improving security. So our entry into cybersecurity compliance has kind of required us to think about our own security and think about how to be more compliant, more secure without sacrificing the usability of our platform.
Mm-hmm. So since the whole company decided to go 27001, get certified, how did that affect some of the choices you made with the core compliance platform?
Yeah, well, it made us think about some of the features of core that have been around for a long time that, they work, but maybe from a security perspective, they could be improved. One example of that would be some of the work that we've done. Well, the thing that everybody runs into as soon as they need to use core, the login screen. Mm-hmm. We've made a lot of improvements to the login screen. One great example is that we've added a password feedback feature. So some of our customers had problems understanding what is a good password and what's a valid password within core. So like a lot of applications had done in the past, we implemented a password feedback feature into that. And it will tell you if you've got a valid password. It will tell you if you've got a strong password based on length and complexity and so on and so forth. We also eliminated the use of temporary passwords in favor of time-limited password resets. And where I can say that was influenced by ISO 27001, your organization has to have policies discussing how can't credentials be shared.
Okay.
And temporary password resets required a plain text password to be delivered to the new user, right? We've worked our way out of that insecurity by eliminating that and replacing it with the password reset request, which is actually far easier to use anyway.
Are there any other security features that we've done with core?
Well, one of the big changes that we made over the last year was migrating Core's hosting over to AWS GovCloud. AWS GovCloud provides a secure environment to run sensitive systems in a more secure and compliant way. This is really important for the kind of customers that sell, for example, to the federal government and require stricter protections around things like controlled unclassified information. That change was more or less transparent to our customers, and it improves our security posture and our compliance posture as a result.
Yeah. I know with some of these standards, it really does matter that the level of security of the information that people may put in a core. And are there any additional things that we've done recently to core that you like?
Yeah, actually, Core has the ability to turn on an MFA or a multi-factor authentication feature, which a user can set up for themselves if they want to be secure themselves and not necessarily apply it to everyone. But we do have that option as well, where an administrator can turn it on for their entire account and force all of their users to set up MFA, which in this day and age really should be used. Yeah.
And I think, isn't that part of, I might be wrong in this, but 27001 may require you to have certain features, and this may be one you choose to do for multi-factor authentication.
There's a lot of other applications out there in the world that are starting to go in the direction of instead of asking people to do the right thing, starting to enforce it. For example, we use GitHub as the backbone of everything we do in the software department. And GitHub will no longer let you log in without multi-factor authentication.
Okay. Well, that's great. Well, this really has been eye-opening, and it really shows the level of detail that we as a company go through as we continue to support and develop core for all of our customers. Do you guys have any last thoughts you'd like to share about core, how we do things that make you excited, want to get out of the bed in the morning?
My only thought is just let us know how we can help.
Absolutely. And do you have anything?
Yeah, continuous improvement is always top of mind. So feedback, giving that information to us so we know how to make it better for you. We use the system in a different way that our customers might. And so we might not pick up on everything right away because we're not using it the same way. So fill out your surveys, give feedback when you can, even if it's a quick email or a phone call.
Yep, we are absolutely there to listen to any concerns. Well, Anne, Brian, this has really just been awesome. Especially it's great if perhaps a company is out there to consider dipping their toes into developing software as a service, and especially for our customers to see just the amount of effort, time, and everything that goes into our own software, the Core Compliance Platform. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. It's been fun.
And we want to thank everyone who's listened to our podcast today, and we hope it's been informative for you. If you're looking for more information about Core Business Solutions and how we can help you with ISO certification or cybersecurity and our core compliance platform, please reach out to us at info@thecoresolution.com. You can also visit us at our website at www.thecoresolution.com. And if you haven't already followed us on your favorite podcast platform, be sure to do so. And that way you won't miss the next Quality Hub podcast when it's released next week. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.